Test, 1 2 1 2, test. Mic check, mic check. Hello to everyone out there in radio land.
So, like that.
Hey everybody, my name is Jody Wodehouse, Jody Michael Wodehouse. I was born in Prosser, Washington, September 17th, 1969, to a Mr. James R. and Mildred M. Wodehouse.
Picture yourself when you're getting on. Sat by the fireside, pondering on. Picture book.
Well, I grew up mostly, actually I bounced around a lot, mostly in the Tri-Cities, but we moved around from Portland, Oregon to Moscow, Idaho, to Lewiston, Clarkston, but we always came back to Tri-Cities.
Pictures of your mama taken by your papa a long time ago. Long time ago. Long time ago. Long time ago. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was just a big freak for Tonka trucks, a lot of television. I watched a lot of Land of the Lost, a lot of Croft Super Show, a lot of really fun shows, and I was really into toys, action figures. My parents would regularly get in, I would get in trouble, and they would regularly buy me, of course, the best toy on the market. Therefore, I would burn the G.I. Joe and let it hang from the tree like an effigy as my parents came home driving from work. So just fun stuff like that. Schools I remember the most, Desert Hills Middle School, and before that Hawthorne Elementary, which was in Kennewick, Washington. After that, I remember I had to move up to Ketchikan, Alaska, and I remember Ketchikan, Alaska junior high. It was a fun time. It was a weird time living up in the woods and everyone wearing flannel and listening to AC/DC. But I got that rubbed off on me, and then I moved back down to Richland High, where I attended my freshman year, and then I finished high school in Ketchikan, Alaska. My dream, my goal was to, actually what I started off when I was young, I wanted to be a Hollywood makeup artist, doing special effects, blood makeup, stuff like that, and then it slowly matured into a stuntman when Fall Guy came on with Lee Majors. Then after that, I really had a dream as a kid. I guess it was always to be an actor or an entertainer.
You put yourself in stupid places, yes, I think you know it's true. Situations where it's easy to look down on you. Think you like to be the victim, think you like to be in pain. I think you make yourself the victim almost every single day. You do what you do, you say what you say. You try to be everything to everyone. You know all the right people, you play all the right games. You always try to be everything to everyone. Yeah, you do it again. You always do it again.
I met Nikki, it was exactly 14 and a half years ago. And I remember, well, we first saw each other once. I was really drunk at a party, and she had this big Neanderthal boyfriend who I was really afraid of. And I went up to ask her to dance, and I saw who she was, and I ran away like a scared little girl. But the next time that we really saw each other was at, her cousin was throwing a kegger. And I was there, and there's a big line at the keg, and she was so sweet. I turned around, she brought me a beer I'd been waiting for about a half hour on, and then we just kicked off, started talking. My first reaction was, this girl is beautiful. She's probably too classy, and does she still have the big boyfriend around so I don't get my ass kicked? That was pretty much how it stood.
My next plan of action was the next day was to go back to Built for Life in town and talk to Fred about Jody, which is exactly what I did. And Jody's like, Fred's like, guess who likes you? I go, who? He goes, Jody. And I said, nah. And he looked at me and goes, what, you like him too? And I said, uh-huh. He goes, you do? I go, uh-huh. All right, I'll tell him. Fred thought it was weird. He didn't think I should like Jody.
Swaying room as the music starts, strangers making the most of the dark. Two by two their bodies become one.
We dated, we dated for a year and a half. I broke up with her briefly just to crawl back. You know, when you're young, you got your friends pulling you every which way, but I was smart enough, came back, she took me, and I asked her to marry me.
What I'm dying to say is that I'm crazy for you. Touch me once and you know it's true. I never wanted anyone like this. It's all brand new. You're feeling it in my kiss. I'm crazy for you.
I pretty much proposed to her, and after being back and dating for a while, pretty much we were we just got done having a good romantic dinner and stuff, and I just turned to her and I said, you know what, we might as well get married. I mean, we love each other, don't we? And she was kind of flabbergasted, and she accepted, and then she planned everything. I was in shell shock from then on.
He looked at me and goes, I was thinking that next year would be a good time to get married. What do you think? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, great, yeah. I was like, well, I'm taking that and I'm running with it because, you know, I didn't want him to go anywhere. And we were married 3 months later because I was letting him out of it. And I knew he was going to try and bolt.
We got married 13 years ago, 1990, what was that, one then? It'd be 1991. It was beautiful. We got the chapel downtown, and August 1991, and she picked that day because it was still a nice day out and still be beautiful and stuff out for the wedding, and it was great. It was great. We actually talk about getting remarried, just because we enjoyed it the first time so much.
Finally found the love of a lifetime, a love to last my whole life through. I finally found the love of a lifetime, forever in my heart. I finally found the love of a lifetime.
The first pregnancy was planned. Jansen was planned. He was he was definitely wanted. We didn't know what we wanted. We just wanted a kid. We were very happy to have a healthy kid, and it was a very exciting time for me. I think most of my friends didn't understand really how excited and ready I was for him, because they just couldn't believe me having a kid, especially as wacky as I was. But I was raring to go, and we ended up having a beautiful boy, little chubby boy, Jansen Wodehouse, and he was fantastic.
From the first time the doctor placed you in my arms, I knew I'd meet death before I let you meet harm. Although questions arose in my mind, would I be man enough against wrong? Choose right and be standing up. From the hospital that first night, took an hour just to get the car seat in right. People driving off fast got me kinda upset. Got you home safe, placed you in your bassinet. That night I don't think one wink I slept. As I slipped out my bed to your crib I crept. Touched your head gently, felt my heart melt, cause I knew I loved you more than life itself. Into my knees.
Jansen was born and Jody was crying, and he was just beaming from ear to ear, and He was just incredible. He gave him his first bath. He followed the baby everywhere, and it was just so cool. I've never seen Jody just beam with so much pride and joy ever. Something he actually accomplished that he felt good about, because he doesn't give himself enough credit for anything he ever does. That was one thing he couldn't take back, that, he knew was something he did. It was wonderful.
We cheated, of course. We cheated on both kids to find out what sex they were. Finding out Jansen was a boy, I was ecstatic. They get the first boy out of the way, and it was just fabulous to know that. So, but we had no name. We had a bunch of really weird names for him, Corinthian, and just all these really weird names, and some plain names. But we just couldn't figure out what this kid was going to be. So I remember it vividly. I remember he came out and I cut the cord, and I was so emotional, and was crying, and they held up his face to both me and Nikki, and without hesitation, Nikki and I both turned to each other and we just said Jansen. He looked like a Jansen. He was a spoiled up, puffy little, beautiful little boy, and he was hardly crying. And he just looked like a Jansen, and so thus we just said that's kind of a cool name, because we like Jansen Beach, and it's different, so we went with it. And he's been a fabulous kid. He's been one of those miracle kids, as far as he never been sick. He's just a smart kid. He's a gracious kid with great manners, and Jansen definitely does say it all.
I love you and I'm here for you.
Just the two of us.
The second pregnancy wasn't planned, but that was at the time of me deciding to really try to make a career at acting, and that was a real hard part, because I felt I was neglecting her, pursuing this dream, especially as such a little baby, and that wore heavy on me the whole time I was there. And it was a blessing for me, though, when I returned and realized really what was most important. I walk in the door after not seeing her for 3 or 4 months, and she was not even a year old, and she looked up at me and she recognized me and she just said, "Daddy," and I broke down, and I decided it's time to move home with my family.
For butterfly kisses after bedtime prayer, sticking little white flowers all up in her hair. Walk beside the pony, Daddy, it's my first ride. I know the cake looks funny, Daddy, but I sure tried. Oh, with all that I've done wrong, I must have done something right to deserve a hug every morning and butterfly kisses at night.
Carson, she was just a beautiful baby coming out. Carson, we had spelled the original name Carson, and when she came out, we just said, no, we have to do something different, because she was so beautiful, but she was so stubborn. She was a stubborn little baby, and so we said, well, let's be stubborn, and let's Karsy in her name, just for stubborn's sake. So we did, and she when she was really young, because I wasn't around as much, she really wasn't that happy of a baby. She did have her good times. She was happy, but she was a very serious baby. She took things very serious, and especially eating. She was very serious about eating. If she didn't want to eat, then don't even try. And if she was hungry, look out. And but I remember when I finally moved home, and started spending more time with her, her happiness and her laughing and her personality really started to shine, and she's turned out to be my little goofball, and she's our little entertainer, and she's just a wonderful little girl.
Deserve her love every morning and butterfly kisses at night.
He walked in the front door and said, "Hi, I'm here," and Carson looked up with her big blue eyes, and she smiled the most beautiful smile, and he looked down at her and she was smiling, and he was just bawling. He picked her up and he was holding her and bawling, and from that day forward I no longer existed. She was a daddy's girl, and to this day, 9 years later, I still don't have a daughter, and he has that relationship that every father dreams of with their daughter. It is super cool.
Gave me butterfly kisses with her mama there, sticking little white flowers all up in her hair.
I asked Nikki, we talked about it, and I said, listen, I still want to pursue acting, but we know I didn't do the LA thing, and I don't want to drag the family to LA. So she compromised, and she actually recommended, well, Seattle. We could do Seattle. As scared as she was, it was a hard move on her, never being away from the family. I moved first for 6 months, got an apartment, got a job, started where I worked with computers and stuff like that, and kind of set the ground. And then she moved, and it was a hard 6 months. So we came home briefly. We were home for a little while, visiting and stuff like that, and I ended up, I was having stomach pains, and I couldn't figure out why. I had some blood in my stool, and I didn't know really what that was. So our local doctor, we went to Dr. Cohan, and we talked, and he just told me at that time, well, I recommend a colonoscopy, and I just kind of laughed. I said, at my age? And he said, well, it's better safe than sorry. And so he took it, and that's when they did find a tumor that was the size of roughly a golf ball. And from how long it had been in there, they said that the tumor had been in there 8 to 10 years, which means I had to have that tumor in my early 20s. Yeah, and then went through treatments. We decided first, the doctor broke it down to us and said, you have a 40% chance of beating this. Colorectal cancer, which is what my diagnosis was, is a hard cancer to beat, especially after it's been in you for a while. So we did radiation to shrink the tumor, and we did chemo. We started chemo. We did both bouts of that, getting me ready for surgery. After about 6 months of both of those, I went to surgery, and they cut it out. They had enough margin. I had to have a ileostomy, which is a pouch to poop in, for about 6 months afterwards, and then they did the reversal. And then I had a 9 months straight run of feeling good, and things seemed to be getting better. Gosh, we went to the coast. We went to Cancun, Mexico, which was just beautiful. It was kind of Nikki and I's second honeymoon. Our first honeymoon was very short, brief, and not very spectacular. So this was a good time for us, and we went with her sister and brother-in-law, and we just had a fantastic time.
I just ran away from home, now I'm going to Disneyland. I just crashed my car again, now I'm going to Disneyland. I just robbed a grocery store, I'm going to Disneyland. I just saw a good man die, I'm going to Disneyland. Come on, I'm going to Disneyland. Hey!
I started having a blockage where I couldn't eat at all. I was vomiting food. I couldn't pass anything through. I was seeing gastroenterologists and several other doctors specializing in that field, and they couldn't find anything. Finally, my chemo doctor, my oncologist, said, well, the only way to really find out what's going on is if you admit yourself. So I admitted myself, and after 4 days of testing, they came back and told me that the tumor had returned, and it was in a different spot now.
Restless tonight, 'cause I wasted the light. Between both these times, I drew a really thin line. It's nothing I planned, and not that I can, but you should be mine across that line. If I traded it all, if I gave it all away for one thing, just for one thing, if I sorted it out, if I knew all about this one thing, wouldn't that be something?
For me, everyone wanted to throw another benefit for me. We had one when I was first diagnosed, and it went fabulous. My idea was I wanted more people just to come and party, to enjoy themselves. Jody throw a bash that people could see each other again, all friends that haven't seen each other in a while, and George and my father and my brother and several other people, my friend Dominic, threw this thing together, and they really made it happen, and it was a wonderful event. I had a great time, and it turned out very well. We were very happy.
Sugar, oh honey, honey, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you.
It was brought to us that once you try to beat colon cancer and it comes back, it can't be beaten again. You can't beat colon cancer around the second time. They did tell me that there's new experimental drugs out and that I could give it a shot, and that they recommended doing that, and I had no real other choice really but to choose that, because it was one of those things where I still want to be around for my family, and no matter what, and I'm a fighter, and this thing isn't going to take me. And we fought that, and I ended up doing the latest treatments and also other ways of beating this mentally, trying out other alternatives, just really taking the other avenue and really trying to grab a hold and just keep rolling with it. And eventually, finally, after a couple more bouts in the hospital, admitting myself after having the same type obstruction, my doctor finally told me that the cancer will kill me, and that I have anywhere from 6 to 12 months to a year to live. And that's when we start thinking about quality of life and how I want to spend the rest of my life.
All kinds of time, it's got all kinds of time, all kinds of time.
Yeah, Nikki's side of the family has literally hundreds of people that I could sit around and talk about, but I'm going to just talk about the few. The rest of you know that I love you and that what you've meant to me. Nikki's mom has become a mom to me. She's never judged me. She's always been for me. She always would try to look at my side of the argument, which growing up I never had that. And she's just been fantastic. She's truly a beautiful woman. And Nikki's stepfather, Dennis, he has stepped in just like a dad. He's done more for me than I can even begin to say. I mean, the list goes on. He's a fabulous guy. Nikki's sisters, Wendy and Lori, I love them so much. They are truly my sisters. I always wanted sisters, and they are truly my sisters in every sense of the word. And I could go on. They've got God knows how many sisters. They're all fantastic. They're all beautiful. Nikki's dad, her real dad, has turned out to be, he was gone for most of Nikki's life, but now is in our lives now, and we're so grateful. He's become also a very, very great human being, and we love him. We love him dearly. So, to the rest of you, you know who you are. All the cousins, all the nieces, the nephews. I love you.
To my body is dust, till my soul is no more. I will love you, love you.
My my side of the family's been through a lot of weird times. We used to have a communication breakdown. Not very good communicators, but the past 6-7 years, that's changed. My father is turned into the kind of man that I always looked up to, or the kind of man I knew that was inside, and he is now that man, and I'm totally proud of him. My mom now has come so far. She's she's been through a lot of heartache, but she is definitely my mother, and she loves me, and she has learned now to let that go and to really look at what's important, her family, and really love that way. And my brother Russell, it's funny is because we found out at a very young age he was my half brother, but I feel like he's a brother and a half. He's always there for me. He's a very talented, very giving, loving guy, and I like him the most because he's really sarcastic, and I really think that's funny, and I just love him for it.
Till the storms fill my eyes and we touch the last time, I will love you. I will love you.
To Jansen, I would say that as much as he probably looks to me as being an inspiration and a father figure and someone to be proud of, I look at him just the same. He's a wonderful kid. You don't even have to ask him to be wonderful. He just is. I'm proud of him and everything he does. He goes 100%, and he's a sensitive guy like me, as you could tell with my voice breaking up in the tape. He's a sensitive guy, but he's a tough kid. He's one of those boys that you're just always proud of. He can't let you down, even if he doesn't get something done. He does it with such honor, and I look up to him. He's a great boy. Carson is your angel. She loves to take care of you. She will hide her feelings, whether she's afraid, angry, or something, if it means that she's helping you. She is wonderful that way. We're always getting calls from the school and her teachers about what a great helper and a great girl she is with helping around, and that's how she's always been, and she's my rock. I always ask her questions if there's anything about the sickness or anything you're afraid of or something like that. She always reverses it and says, "No, Daddy, if there's anything you need, I want to help you out." And she is just one of those angels. She's definitely by your side, and she's just gonna make any man lucky someday, because she will do anything for him.
Fathers, be good to your daughters. Daughters will love like you do. Girls become lovers who turn into mothers. So mothers, be good to your daughters too.
My wife, Nikki. Oh man, where do we start? My wife, Nikki, has put up with a lot. Being a young actor, and when I first met her, and being hotshot DJ or whoever I thought I was at the time, she had to put up with a lot of that. And as much as I loved her and was nice to her, and we really got along, there are times that I really neglected her, and at times that I wish that I wouldn't have. She always gave 110% for me. She was always supportive for me, except when it was staying out late, partying with my friends. I mean, really, come on. But what I really love about Nikki is that she's allowed me to grow. She's seen me grow from an insecure man with not many attributes to be totally honest, totally proud of as a husband, to someone that I feel proud to be her husband, because now I feel like one. I love her to death. She's my rock. She's my fortress. Everything good in my life has her name all over it, and I'll just love her forever. She is my soulmate, And I used to laugh at that stuff when I was young and selfish, but now I really know what that means, and she certainly is. I love her.
Just always tell him, I always call him sweetie. I always love you, sweetie. I love you, honey. I'm sorry you're going through this way, sweetie. He's my sweetie. He's my honey, my baby, my lovey-dovey. Just everything. He's the most awesome man in the world.
Can't well, I see trees of green and red roses too.
What the cancer has done for me and with my friends is it's quantum leaped me into being the kind of people that we usually are at the end of our lives, which is we want to live every moment like it's our last, that it's precious, and that every laugh, every tear, it has meaning. And no matter what conversation, whether it seemed frivolous or seem minute, it is not. For all those friends and all those people that I've known, I've loved every second. I mean, from the old school days to the new school, getting to know everything and being a part of it. Just to hear stories makes me feel a part of it. And I think really what it boils down to is that you do have to live your day like it's your last. And then people forget that. We take life for granted, but really, we have to, every day, we have to acknowledge everybody. We have to tell them we love them. And we just have to put out our hand and take time for them, because that's all we got.
He said I was in my early 40s with a lot of life before me, when a moment came that stopped me on a dime. I spent most of the next days looking at the x-rays, talking about the options and talking about sweet time. I asked him when it sank in that this might really be the real end. How's it hit you when you get that kind of news? Man, what'd you do? And he said, I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, I went 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu. And I looked deeper and I spoke sweeter and I gave forgiveness I've been denying. And he said, someday I hope you get the chance to live like you were dying. Like tomorrow was a gift and you got eternity to think about what you do with it. What did you do with it? What did I do with it? What would I do with it? Skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, I went 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu. And I loved deeper and I spoke sweeter and I watched an eagle as it was flying.
dying, to live like you were
To all of you, friends, family, people I've passed, people I've helped, people who've helped me, I just want to say thank you, and I love you. Thank you so much.
I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by. Weep not for the memories. Weep not for the memories.
I can't stand